soup? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me I have some more RPG horror stories. I got a question about homebrew. What is your favorite type of homebrew, or do you have a specific thing that is made from homebrew that you really like and want to put into your games? My personal type of homebrew are subclasses, just another way to play your favorite class with a little bit of extra twist. I hear that Cleric actually has a homebrew garlic bread domain subclass, which I definitely want to try at some point. I think it's more culinary based. I have to play it sometime. Either way, let's get some RPG horror stories for today. My old DM was something else. Here are some of the highlights. I had a DM a while back that made playing D&D more frustrating than fun. Some of the things they did still stuck with me, and I just need to vent. Here's a quick rundown of what playing under them was like. Banning shield on my Hexblade. I, as a Hexblade Warlock, find this absolutely appalling, but let's see why they're banning it. They straight up banned the shield spell on my Hexblade because apparently having 21 AC as a reaction is BS. I mean, that's what the spell does, right? But no, too OP for them. It's as a warlock, you don't have many spell slots in combat. They can only recharge you in short rest, but like in majority of the game, like before level 11 I think, maybe 10, you get like two bursts of shield that you can do in combat, unless you short rest and stuff. But like shield, it already wastes a lot of resources, especially for the warlock. You only have 2 bursts of it if anything, but like the whole point of using shield is that temporary protection. It doesn't last forever. It'd be nonsensical if it lasted permanently. That would be one thing, but it just lasts for until the start of your next turn. That's it. It's not that powerful. Especially as a Hexblade Warlock, you're gonna be up close in battle. You kind of need some defenses, and shield is a perfect one. So dumb. Fudging rolls to kill my monk. Once they admitted to fudging rolls to one-shot my monk, claiming I was high on power and needed to be taken down a notch. Oh yeah, your players are being a little bit too overpowered. Let's kill them. Let's not have an out-of-character, like out-of-game conversation about maybe I made you a monk too powerful with all the magic items. How about we rework some stuff? No, you're high on power, so I gotta kill your character and ruin your fun. In a game where you're playing as pretty overpowered people. Like, you're not just playing some farmers, you're playing a level 5 paladin that literally gets power from the deity in the Wrath and can smite people to oblivion. You're already pretty powerful. The whole game is power fantasy anyway. Making fun of my character's name. My character was a Lizardfolk named Balrog, and the DM not only mocked the name by calling me Obama, but also bullied my character in-game because Lizardfolk are not liked by humans. It was clearly meant to make me feel bad, and it worked. Okay, well that's just rude. Listen, Balrog is a pretty awesome name for Lizardfolk. I don't care what you think. You could even have your name be Fiddledinks, and that'd still be a fine name. Doesn't matter what the name is, dude. Stop bullying your player over character name. Also, in my game, Lizardfolk seem to be pretty cool by other people. Like, this DM it really hates Lizardfolk for whatever reason. I don't know why. They have the Lizardfolk bias or anti-bias. Constant criticism. Every time I did something, the DM would tell me I was doing it wrong, or not the way they would have done it. No explanation, just constant critique. Wow, DM, how about you play as a player character, then we can critique your behavior and be like, this is not what I would have done. There's one thing to critique to try to benefit the person you're helping with. You're offering a critique for help. But there's another thing to just be like snarking aside, I know I would have done it a different way, and this is not the right thing to do. This is the wrong way to do. I would have done it so much better. Shut up, DM. We don't care. Not letting me do cool stuff. One time, I wanted my monk to jump over an enemy because I had a +8 to acrobatics. Seemed reasonable, right? But nope, DM shut it down without any real reason. Oh wow, jumping over an enemy is such a problematic thing. Let's not let the monk do the one thing that won't ruin the game. You just want to jump over an enemy, he doesn't let you because they have a +8 acrobatics? He just says no? Wow, the DM sounds like the fun at parties. Dragging the game for one player. Once spent over an hour watching one player do research, and when get on my phone to pass the time, DM gave me crap for not paying attention. If people are already not paying attention already as is, hounding one single player doesn't make sense. You know, I'm seeing 2 things going on here. But before I say my thoughts, let's finish the rest of this. Just a tiny bit more to go. I'm not one to complain easily, but this DM really sucked the fun out of what should have been a great experience. Okay, now that it's over, either you're leaving something out of context, and this is just like a he said, she said kind of thing, potentially, you never know really. Or 2, The DM isn't just a bad DM, they just really hate you specifically. Let other players do research for an hour, but you can't be on your phone to pass the time. Other players get to do cool stuff, but you can't do cool stuff. Other players get to do this, but you can't do this. I don't know what's going on. Maybe the DM just has a hate boner against you, and they just really want to try to screw over your fun and your experience. They keep targeting your player character, not letting you do cool stuff, making fun of the name, making fun of you in general, just patronizing you, criticizing your actions that you take in game. And I feel like your DM just really doesn't like you for whatever reason, and they're just really unlikable. Genuinely unlikable. Especially with that Hexblade shield comment. Absolutely unlikable. 0 out of 10, would not recommend. That's my bias. Let's get to the next story for today. Player creates Lolita character, quits game after first turn. The story begins back around the later half of 2019. Cyberpunk 2077 was getting traction because its release was approaching. I was very excited for it, so I decided to run a Cyberpunk 2020 game. Not very well, as it was both and everyone else's first time playing the game, but I was excited. My D&D group was also excited. So I took on the arduous process of asking people if they wanted to join. Now the only important one is a player will be called Adonis for the sake of having a name. I had made the mistake of allowing the player access to a website with a bunch of homebrew items and definitive stats on it. This ended terribly for me due to a couple players stat checking everything that appeared. But so Adonis approaches me with a character idea. It was a 27-year-old, short, lithe woman who had a very youthful appearance. Now my brain goes, alright, she's using cybernetics to hide her age. But my brain had not gone into the red alert. Sounds innocent enough, I thought. Again, I was young and naive. Adonis's character was not cyberized at all, and was actually a sewer rat who would dress in high-fashion, doll-like clothing. Was a part of the terrorist cult group that despised cybernetics. Honestly, with that description, I would have misinterpreted the character completely, though I don't really play Cyberpunk or anything like that. I should try it at some point. It sounds kinda cool. My brain did not put together the pieces of Adonis's character. I did not think much of it because I just assumed I would never have met those kinds of people. I was young and a bit of a pushover. I wanted everyone to have their character fantasy, and I did not think much into Adonis. But I did warn him that this is Cyberpunk. Like, you can definitely play a character against cybernetics, but it's likely you're gonna lose a limb at some point. This is where the website with the homebrew comes in. Adonis sent me the weapon he wanted to use. It was a Warhammer 40k bolter. Straight up, with stats to match. Essentially a high-power, fully automatic rocket launcher. That's a really good gun. I don't think you should have it this early. But Adonis won't let up. He's in his late 20s at this point, and he starts throwing a tantrum at me. Well, my character wouldn't use any other guns, and, well, I guess I'm useless in combat now. I was about 16 at the time, so I just folded and let him have the gun. Good lord, imagine bullying a 16-year-old DM just to get what you want. A Warhammer 40k bolter in Cyberpunk universe. Bro, just pick a different gun. There's probably other guns that are in similar or at least recommended. Why are you bullying a 16-year-old over this? I mean, the obvious problem is the player is making a Lolita character, but also going so hard to include Warhammer 40k bolter. What is this gonna pull out next? A Dracula blade from Castlevania? I don't know weapons in Castlevania, I'm just making things up. Let's continue. Now, we get to the session. Adonis's character is role-playing as his character and making people uncomfortable. I thought it was funny at the time, but looking back on it now, it was really freaky. Taking in a high-pitched, childlike voice, referring to a lot of explicit themes and acting excited about going through the red light district, which did not exist in my game. He just roleplayed it out as the group was driving to their destination. Okay, yeah, this is not okay. No, this is not alright. You want to play as like a younger character, if it's appropriate and everybody understands it's not going to be going to a really uncomfortable situation and everybody is cool with it, maybe you can get away with it, sure, like a squeaky character. This is extremely and highly disturbing, and I hope at some point you realize it and you put your foot down. But apparently the story ends as soon as the player takes their turn. I wonder what happens. Let's see. Then we go to the first combat. Everyone's doing really well, even when they crit fail. They've only ever taken small wounds because of their weapons and armor. Then we get to Adonis's first turn. He decides to go fully automatic on his bolter. His light body, he puts no points in the body stats, made his recoil hard to control, and his lack of cybernetics and armor came to a beautiful head as he rolled a nat 1. For those who never played Cyberpunk 2020, when you roll a nat 1, you then roll from a fumble table to see how you messed up. Adonis rolled the fumble that caused self-damage. Narratively, it's like a ricochet or a misfire. Now, this wouldn't be a big deal if Adonis was using a normal weapon, but he had a bolter. Did he just accidentally kill his own character? Actually? With a bolt? Oh, I gotta see the end of this. The bolt did over 10 damage to both his legs, meaning they were blown off, and instantly became incapacitated and almost bled out. Adonis then said he had to go and left. Then his character was stabilized and carted off to a private hospital. His sewer rat character was ultra wealthy since the doll closed and despite the occupation of sewer cultist. Later asked him what his plans were for his character. I suggested a couple of ideas, like maybe they would get cybernetic legs, maybe they would get a wheelchair because of their hate of cybernetics. How does his character develop now that she has conflict between her ideals and the practicality of walking? The answer was Adonis left the Cyberpunk game, and the D&D server everyone was from never heard from him since then, but did hear that he got booted out of another server for trying to justify posting loli stuff in a not safe for work tab. That the kind of Lolita stuff he was talking about. I thought it was like some sort of Victorian era stuff, like looking like a personal doll. Everything adds up now. Everything starts to make sense. Not in a good way, but it's making sense. It's not as spicy as people probably want, but it's a story I remember after talking with a few of the people who were in the Cyberpunk game at the time. Edit/update. I decided to scour my Discord to find the dude's profile. I found him. I won't go into personal details, but they have doubled down on their doll fetish and obsession, and are now identifying female, have undergone HRT, and dress up in those uncanny anime little girl doll outfits. Do with this information what you will, because of the previous context, it's cursed. Update 2 found her backstory text. Crazy Doll Gang, a vicious mockery of Victorian high society, the Raylun Elaman Serra Fairy Life Society, known as Rails by Gangsters, as an incredibly violent gang which has entrenched itself into every national park and reserve in Night City. The crimes list in drug trafficking, human trafficking, near-extinct animal trafficking, and literally every crime known in order to pursue their macabre hobbies. They primarily recruit by purchasing smuggled children, secondary from the families of those they killed, and lastly, least commonly, from willing hire ones waiting to pursue the sick doll life. New recruits are given various manuals and treaties on proper civilization and training course on whatever specialty the Rels needs at the time. Their lingua franca lies somewhere between Finnish and the pseudo-language that streets have. You know what, guys? I'm just gonna pause the video here. If you really want to read the slop, you're more than welcome to. Go right ahead. Pause the video and read this along, because honestly, the more I'm skimming through this, the more I'm like, maybe I don't want to continue this. If you really want to give yourself a read for this. Anyway, I'm not sure why the player just left out of nowhere, but maybe some sort of thing came up, or maybe they realized, oh wait a minute, my character is legless. I did a dumb turn. I want to leave immediately. Or there's something going on. Maybe they were getting caught by doing something else, like posting more lolly not safe for work somewhere in another post or something. I'm not fully sure. I have no idea, honestly. Either way, it seemed like somebody bit off more they could chew, try to bully a 16-year-old DM into getting what they wanted. They got what they wanted. They shot the gun, it blew off the character's legs off, and they just immediately left, just instantly. Kind of a silly thing to do, but yeah, I guess it is what it is. I don't know, man. I do want to try Cyberpunk 2020. I think there's also Cyberpunk Red. I don't know if there's a difference between either one. I have to get a proper look-see. But either way, that's all the videos on all the stories we have for today. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.